What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in. Got a really exciting video for you here today. Before we get started, I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button to support the channel. And if you find this really helpful, don't forget to subscribe for future updates. As always, none of this is financial advice and are my opinions only. Let's get right into it. So this is the current chart on Sushi. And let's just dive right in. So the chart's been unchanged, okay, but a little bit messy. So let's just clean this up a bit. And so what I was seeing at the time was obviously we had demand down here. Okay, so maybe not an actual order block, but basically our macro demand that had been tested and that's established. Okay, right, fine. So we started looking at this and really just came down to these levels of liquidity. Okay, so we had been below this level of resistance around $1.10 for quite some time. You want to start zooming in on a lower time frame. Okay, so you want to start to see something that we can derive a long position from, right? And so obviously hindsight's 2020, but when you start to see like this sort of thing where you kind of deviate above, you get back below, and then kind of above again kind of thing, and then you get back below, it's just really a sign that either it's unable to break this resistance or the trend is going to continue down kind of thing. Okay, so what you want to see is you get a reclaim of it, and then sure, you can deviate below again, but you want to reclaim it almost immediately again. And that would tell me that this is going to head back up and that we flipped that level. Or in this case, you want to see a clear, decisive direction of a flip. Okay, so something that's obviously a flip with multiple candle closes up well above the line, and then obviously just look for that retest, right? Which is exactly what we got in this area. So we had a clear decisive move above the level. Okay, no one can refute that. And then just a clear bullish retest, okay, before up. So when you're seeing this, if you're seeing this price action right here, that's for me, that's not a trigger to get long. It's a great bullish play to get above this level, but that's not an area I want to be getting long, right? So basically you're looking for where was that key breakdown beforehand, right? So we had the key breakdown here. We had this previous level of support and then broke below, right? Tried to wick back up and close above it, but actually broke below, and then it was our resistance. So that's our key level where we had the origin of that breakdown that we flipped, right? So this is now an untested area. These lows are untested right here. So, on a smaller time frame, you look at basically from this candle, you look at the low. You want to sweep that liquidity. You want to test that demand and scoop up more buyers in that area. Okay. Another thing you can do, right, is just take your fib. And obviously there's a clear high here, right, that happened at the moment. And then you can take it down here, either to the wick or even just the candle body. I'll take it from the body for this point, but then basically you're looking at that sweet spot, right? So right around, usually typically people look at 6618, but I'd be looking, between the 382 and given the strength of this move, between the 382 and the 50 would kind of be your sweet spot. And then that's your confluence with this SR level that lines up that we've broken out of. We know what happened, but let's take a play here. Right, there you go. There's your sweet spot. And then obviously after that, we went berserk. But let's get out of this mode now. Okay, so then zooming out, that was fine. Okay. But again, hindsight's 2020, right? So let's look at what we're looking at now. We had our first target up here. And the reason why I had that as a first target was because it was just basically the level of breakdown over here, this bearish consolidation, okay? And we had flipped that level. If you were, inversing the chart, basically flipped that level into support, but really at this point, it's resistance, came back up, swept this liquidity, and then swiftly rejected, right? So that's obviously a key level, key breakdown. And so what did we see? Well, it came up, got front ran a little bit here, but almost got to it. And then actually on a lower time frame flipped this level, right? So let's go to say the 30-minute here. And so we were on that dotted line, right? So we're on this level right here. So that area, and you can see clearly, definitely an SR zone in there that got flipped, okay? So you just see it as resistance, just draw it out, okay? As resistance, rejected, flips it, support, and up. Okay, so that was my first target. And let's go back out to the 4-hour here. And so that target obviously hit, right? So if you had taken this trade on the basis of the flip of this key SR level, or if you're getting long down here in macro demand, even better, right? But if you were waiting for that confirmation, you're waiting for a break in market structure, right? So basically this lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, and then you made a higher high, you flipped that market structure into a bullish retest. That was your trigger, that was your confirmation, your confluence in that area to get long. And then you'd have your first target. So that would be, say, a TP1 here, okay? Be TP1, great. And then TP2 up here. And so the reason why TP2 was up here was just clearly this area of supply that we had sitting right up here, right? So basically we just go back in time again. Where was that key breakdown? We had this key breakdown level right here, okay, where we just broke down from that lower low, okay, from this bullish move, this bullish trend up. We broke that market structure, okay, we made a lower low, and then obviously very weak, people shorted, dumped down. So you go back to this key level over here, and you just draw it out, and you start to say, oh, okay, so there's obviously all this supply sitting in all these wicks, like all these wicks right up here, okay, heavy supply, and it just goes right over to that area of the original breakdown. So you're just drawing out that zone, and that's obviously going to act as your supply or resistance on the next target. And even if this thing is going to continue up, right? If you think this is the bottom and we've got a larger bear market rally coming, then you'd still want to wait for a better entry, right? Because there's no entry in here to go long. You can't have a good stop loss in here. Wherever your stop loss is, below this wick, I would bet it's going to get stopped out at least at some point. We're going to start sweeping this liquidity down here. Basically, this area here is just, your imbalance basically in price, right, in the market with this candle. So there needs to be some liquidity down here on these previous lower highs, or this low somewhere down here needs to be swept, right? And that would be basically, if you're looking longer term to go long and you think this is coming up, then you'd want to be looking at a sweep of this liquidity, just like we did up here, right, where we swept all this liquidity. We came up here, we wicked up really high, right, and probably stopped out a lot of people, kind of thing. If you just invert the chart, right, and you had gone long here, and you said, nope, this thing's going to continue up, well, then it just came right back down and just stopped you out, right? So you just got to really be careful of that. Okay, so it's giving it a good attempt right now, but like I said, it wouldn't be surprised to come back into this area, sweep these lows, and not break out of this just yet. I wouldn't be surprised. But if we can break out of this diagonal, right? If we can break out of this diagonal and break out of this current resistance, right? So say we come back down here temporarily, fine. And then we break out of the diagonal, and then we break this level here into support, which is basically from this area over here, that previous high, then yeah, I have no problem targeting $1.50, okay? So from over here, I have no problem targeting that if we get some sort of price action that looks like this. And a little bit more confluence with that would be flipping this EMA, this 55 EMA. If it comes down like this, you'd be flipping this level, okay, around $1.30 area, but you'd also be flipping that 55 EMA, okay? And then if this somehow just continues to push, then of course you just keep looking left, right? So say we take out this high, then you're looking at this high, and then you're looking at the previous breakdown from back here in May, early May, right, which was our previous area that we had bottomed out temporarily on, had a nice push up, and then broke down from, right? So that would be ultimate target if this continues to really push up. But before we get too excited, we just need to keep in mind that you always need to stay objective, right? Don't get too bullish. Wait for confirmation and wait for some price action to develop to tell you where to enter, right? And to what it wants to do. And so you can see clearly twice here in this area, when we hit this level here, when we lost this level, we got, basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red candles in a row on the daily. And then over here as well, when we lost that level, basically, if you count the one coming through it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish red candles again in a row. So if we get up to this level, it's going to be strong resistance, in my opinion. You have to assume it's going to be strong resistance until proven otherwise, right? So that's the assumption right now, is that this is definitely strong resistance. It's a key area that I would not be looking for longs. I'd be waiting for a confirmation, and we've been over this already. Waiting for a confirmation where you can deviate below, but then reclaim quickly with some bullish consolidation, right, within this range, and then a break of that range, retest and up kind of thing, okay? Let's just quickly take a look at what RSI is doing. Okay, so we're on the daily. RSI looks a little, made a new high, okay, from over here. Looks a little overextended given how on the daily how weak this move looks, right? With RSI spiking this much near the top 70th percentile, which would be considered into overbought territory, it just looks a little overextended actually. And let's see here, so higher high, and from that previous high over here, just barely. But if you take it from, let's take it from candles, you got to take, what I'm seeing is potentially hidden bearish divergence. Basically, it's a lower high in price with a higher high in RSI. And so if you count this as a lower high in price, which, I mean, technically it is, right? Even from the wicks or the candles, that's technically a lower high at this point, unless we start to continue to push. But if this is, kind of the end of this move, and you start to look at that low as being a lower high, and then you look at this with a higher high in RSI, that's actually technically a hidden bearish divergence. So you do see that typically in bear markets. Just see if we can find another example of that. So yeah, okay, even right here, right? So we've got lower highs in price and higher highs in RSI. And then, you can see what happened after. So this is where it gets interesting, right? And so if you think this is a completed 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you'll start to see some sort of ABC, like so. So if you start to see something like this, where you get a running flat ABC, then, obviously you can start to look for an entry, stop loss below the low, and start to target upwards, right? But until you get that confirmation, if we lose this level, if this doesn't hold, and we start to chop around and deviate below and can't get above, then I think we're definitely coming down to test these previous highs. But all in all, a nice move. Okay, like I said, definitely a nice move. We had our couple breaks in market structure, right? So we're coming down, making lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, higher high, broke that high, bullish retest, okay? Consolidating up, a nice powerful impulse move, okay? Broke this previous lower high over here, another break in market structure and a bit higher time frame, breakout, bullish retest, a very nice move. You could have played this, and if you got in even here, potentially up to 14, 15%. A really nice move, and I don't want to discount it, right? So relatively speaking, Sushi's been awesome. So thank you so much for joining. I really hope you found this video helpful, you guys. Again, please go check me out on Twitter at CryptoVatsik if you want frequent updates. Subscribe and like the video to my channel on YouTube. I'm posting all the time when I see exciting stuff happen, or I give ideas. I try to give ideas as much as I can before they happen. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much. Bye.